Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Saturday's video. Now, by the time this video has been released, I'm going to be looking at wedding venues today and as well tomorrow. So that's Sunday. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I need to get done. So once all that's done and dusted, I don't have to worry about wedding stuff no more. That's great. Enough about my life and what's going on. I'm going to be talking about masteries today. One thing that I do want to mention is that masteries are very specific. You might find yourself switching between different types, whether or not you're an intense arena grinder and feel that suicide masteries are the key, or there may be other directions you might want to go with your whole kind of setup. And by the way, just because I've set up in my kind of way, it is not the best way. It could be different, or people may have different suggestions. So it's largely up to you how you set up your mastery, but let's talk about where a bad mastery is. And I do feel that for the last year I've had a very bad mastery and it is in need of change, which we're going to do. Talk about the bad and then look at the good at the end of the video. So what is necessarily bad about this? Well, there's certain mastery points used in incorrect places. Now, first and foremost, I've put an extra 1 point into greatest strength. Not really needed. Also, we've got the same thing with lesser precision. Is it really needed to increase my critical rating? Not so much, no. Also, in this particular offense thing, I've got like no points in despair. Do I plan to use despair or kind of like add more to it? I do actually. At the moment, any units that I spend are going to be put towards doing Act 6.100%, as I'm not looking to spend overly on the game. And I don't have any problems with spending in the game and other people that do spend, but I do have a problem, and I think like, you know, M would have a problem if I was excessively spending into the game to obviously get myself a further progression. Yeah, it goes into videos, that's great, but at the same time my issue is that I would rather not spend the 550 units a time for the Carbonadium Mastery cores, which, look, let's face it, that's a lot of units that I could be better using in different areas. Now, obviously, as I go deeper into Act 6, it would be more required that I do indeed consider despair, with reducing down healing and regeneration effects, where in the future, rank 3 is where I want to be. Which obviously goes hand in hand with something like Petrify. When the champion inflicts a stun, they also reduce their enemy's regeneration rate up to 10% and power gain from attacking. So it like goes hand in hand. It's helpful. So yeah, where future development is, I will definitely be putting more into despair, but it will only be once I've 100%ed Act 6.1. Moving now on to defense, and this is, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's not really helpful in the current state of things that I've got like the 3 in recovery, and also looking at something like perfect block. Two things that, again, mastery points wise, are not really the best kind of thing to utilize. Looking at perfect block as well as it is, your champion gains 4% perfect block chance. 4%, that's a really small amount. And especially like looking at recovery, did I really need to put 3 in there? With nowadays more things being geared towards proficiencies, mystic dispersion, as well as what we've just discussed with having something like Petrify in place and how that would benefit things of difficult content and maybe Act 6 and other types of content variants, Abyss of Legends, Labyrinth of Legends. It's coming to the stage where it could be better for me in the short term to have, yeah, Petrify and then going into Pacify, potentially. Now, in a potential mastery setup, I wouldn't be against the fact of willpower. If there's times, even with some lanes going into Act 6, and do bear in mind, I'm not really keen on switching masteries very quickly. Say if I go, right, well, I'm doing an intense arena grind, do I want to be with a suicide mastery? Oh, but I've got to change it. Do I really want to be changing one to the other? It's just not something I like. I like to stick with one and kind of just run with it, which I think it just allows me to be thinking less about the technical aspects and just concentrating on what matters. Getting through content as quickly as possible. When I'm live streaming, I'm not kind of going like, well, I've got to change over to this mastery, then I've got to change back. I like to just stick with the same and just go with it. But like I said, the plan is maybe to do something like willpower. Maybe it's a case that we kind of then revamp this for a definite Act 6 based grind, or maybe finish 6.1 with a very kind of standard mastery, and then think about 6.2 and all about changing that dynamic so it's better. I've got more in offensive, I've got less in defense, and at the same time proficiencies are kind of pushing towards things like making Dr. Doom one of my lead mystics, bringing up another mystic and making it very mystic orientated. Nowadays, with the utilization of my Dr. Doom and looking, as we even said, mystic dispersion, mystic champions gain X amount of %, obviously depending on rank, power each time a buff is nullified or its duration expires of their opponent. Now, Dr. Doom is a lead champion for me, and it seems more fitting to put more effort back into Mystic Dispersion. I did it back in the day, but the fact is, it could be a good shout for me to do that. Mystic seems to be getting a bigger push in 2020, and I kind of feel that it is a good time to consider maybe putting resources into champions like Longshot, Mojo, if I was as lucky to get those 2 champions. So that is something, again, I will need to consider. I don't really use Black Widow Clairvoyance that much, but maybe I should consider doing that in the future, especially where immunities are concerned, and the amazing ability to put out amazing amounts of damage as well. But yeah, I mean, you've got Guillotine, Dormammu there, and I like those 2 champions still. I have nothing against them, and I feel maybe if I'm doing arena grinding or maybe looking for some other options, they could be good for that means. And now I'm ready to reveal the changed mastery, which I'm about to start laughing because I actually made a last minute decision based on some issues. So let's have a look. First of all, in Proficiencies, which we're going to start with, the issue is that it looks like it's not the right day to pick up the relevant type of mastery course for Mystics, which obviously open up that for me. I don't know, I thought that I had them before, especially with compensation, like for when Mystic Dispersion first got a bit changed. But that's something I'll have to bear in mind. When they come around, I may buy them. But also, I've had to kind of make a few decisions about what goes in where. Now, I have put 3 into Pacify, and also I've put three into Petrify. And I think that may be a bit kind of weird for people to see that. But I think it does have some bearing on what content that I'm doing, especially what's coming up. Now, obviously, Pacify for me, when your champions inflict a stun, they also reduce their enemy ability accuracy, something that I think is incredibly important. Certain champions have that built in that they would reduce that on enemies. But for me, I don't, you know, we're kind of like saying about, okay, Archangel, Domino, etc. Maybe I use just like all of them, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it can't be just about them because I need other champions to be available when those champions are busy doing other content. Petrify, as we know, is inbuilt into champions like Cap America Beardo, and like for that, yeah, again, like this is a bit of a sticking my neck out for this one to put it out there. But again, I can't rely on Beardo to be available for everything, so I need it to be like, okay, well, you know, I've got it there in general. I didn't have it before, now I've got it. And that's really what I'm doing Proficiencies. Do bear in mind, I do plan to unlock Mystic Dispersion, but I'll let you know how this new mastery setup goes. Then I'll do another video next month after 6.1's initial 100%ing, and then say, like, what am I preparing for 6.2? Moving into defense, everything's been stripped out of here. Regeneration, look. And recovery. Recovery, I do believe in. It's good, but not a lot of my champions are regeneration centric. So it's kind of like pointless to have this. So increase any health for your champion's recovery during a fight from a buff or passive regeneration effect by 5%, obviously going up as far as 15%. If I had said champions that I think would benefit from this rather than the generic side of things of gaining actual regeneration, it's not needed. It's something that I'm looking at the moment going, I could put those in anywhere. I've still kept block proficiency, but perfect block I've taken away because it's just such a low percentage for me at the moment. Obviously for others, they may find worth in that one. And again, all masteries are up to you, how you situate them, how you put them together. This is where things get a little bit more squiffier. Maybe I wasn't right in doing the setup that I've done, but look, I've tested it out a little bit, and especially with Beardo, I'll probably play on top of the fight of this, where I've taken a class disadvantage Beardo, I'm doing the SP2, and I'm actually doing more damage with a class disadvantage than I did with a video where I did 81,000 damage from doing an SP2 with the kinetic charge, and that was with... I can't remember what fight that was, but I think it was on a fight where, you know, you weren't going to see like a big number, but, you know, big numbers are definitely there in that fight. However, though, moving on to what I have done. Now, again, to say what I'm going to do is Despair is going to be unlocked as well at a later date, but I feel that the proficiency with Pacify helps out towards this based on, you know, debuffs applied to enemies reduce their healing and regeneration effects by 5%. So, again, like, it all goes hand in hand. It's not always centric about one specific champion. It's all of the team that need to be doing their thing as well. So, you know, Domino, the Incinerate damage, shock damage from a shock debuff from Stark Smiley, shock debuff from Doctor Doom, etc., etc. You know what I mean, guys, with having multiple champions available for different things. Okay, I'm moving on to other things. Now, I know that people will probably say, why did you keep lesser precision? And I'm not really sure about where to put that. And maybe like a future decision, maybe I'll put 4 points into here. Maybe the points are like, okay, well, I take the 3 that are there, I put 2 into the despair at a later date, and then with the proficiencies, put one of the available ones into there, and then, you know what I mean? I'll probably move it around like that. But like I said, at the moment, this is fine. And I may actually make a further video where I kind of go, right, well, I've put a further 5 points into greater strength. And again, controversial, but I have seen some impact with this when I've done a few bits of testing, and I'll probably play that over the top of this and just show that I am outputting more damage. So that was really the idea from the mastery. Masteries are very specific to the person, and you may feel that this is not something for you, and that's all right. I'm just showcasing what I'm utilizing at the moment. I even played about with Domino, a champion that I know very well, and I'm used to like numbers and like crits and seeing the big yellow numbers being quite favorable, but I've seen big flurries of crits actually being there, and especially like in a full combo of 5 was able to see like a multitude of these big yellow numbers, to a degree, off of obviously lights and medium attack. And obviously, just to reiterate, this may not constitute to great improvements, especially by what I'm doing with my mastery, and I know that people will criticize this, and that's absolutely fine. But like I said, if I'm seeing something that's better than it was, and I'm really feeling quite confident in it, taking into stuff like X 6.1 100%ing and some other content before I then change it around to be very Mystic Dispersion with Despair, then hey, it's all good at the end of the day. In any case, that has been the video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button. I'll also put in the description other people's mastery setups, because I know a few people have changed about theirs from the community, and as well a few kind of like helpful links so you get other perspectives, so it doesn't have to be about what I'm doing as well. So thanks very much for watching this video. Check out some other content over here, and as well support links which are down there. Appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.